Good morning. This site is called Take What Rings True. And the whole idea is I'm going to be doing a spiritual talk, and you can take what rings true to you and let the rest drop away. You don't have to believe anything I say. Today, I'm going to be talking about why doesn't life go smoothly? We make plans and they get wrecked by life, things that happen in life, things that happen to us, things that we do. So, I'm sure some of you have a very smooth life, and sometimes people write in a lifetime where it's a rest life and things do go pretty smoothly. But for the rest of us, we have a lot of things going on in our life that disrupt our plans. Now, often we think, well, I'm a really spiritual person. I'm a good person. So why are these bad things happening to me? Why are these disruptive things happening to me? Now, you can be a spiritual hermit, go live on the top of a hill, not talk to anyone, just meditate all the time. However, spirit guides tell us that that is avoiding life. So you're not fulfilling what you wanted to do when you came into life. Now, if we want everything to be perfect, we can stay on the other side, or heaven, as it's called. And you can have a very nice life and feel loved all the time and feel wonderful all the time and feel connected all the time. But when we come to Earth, this wonderful place, often we have happiness, we have friends, we have parties, we have get togethers, and we have happiness. And then it gets disrupted. So, if you think about Cinderella, the story of Cinderella, she had a wonderful dad who married a stepmother who had two daughters. So she had two stepsisters. And then when her father died, the stepmother's true colors came out, and she gave great worth to her daughters and little worth to Cinderella. And Cinderella was more or less a servant. And she was saved by Prince Charming, who came and took her away. Well, I have not seen a Prince Charming. There's no Prince Charming coming to take me away and take me away from all this. And in reality, if you think about Princess Diana, she married her prince, and that was not so fun. If you're old enough to remember Princess Grace, Grace Kelly, who met a prince, she was an actress and a model, and she met a prince and married him. And if you read her biography, she was very sad. She didn't feel like her friends could come visit her. She didn't feel like she could have her friends over. She wasn't not allowed to do acting anymore. So she became a princess, but Prince Charming didn't save the day and fix everything in her life. She was lonely and sad. So, life. We come into life to overcome obstacles. And we signed up to come to Earth and experience these things. And the more spiritual you are, you would think that life would go smoother. It would be easier. You would understand more, and yucky things wouldn't happen to you. However, if you are a very spiritual person, more likely you have written in a lot of hard things for you to experience. And then when you get there to those hard things, it's like, I don't want this. I don't want this experience. Why am I having this awful experience? And it can last years and years. I've told you before, I had a horse when I was little. It was 4 or 5 years old that my horse died of being accidentally given a poisoned artichoke. Not poisoned, but it had pesticide on it, and the horse died. And I was always sad about that. And I found out just this last year, I was keeping that horse here, that horse's spirit here, that horse's soul here, because I didn't want to let it go. I was so sad that I just kept the horse with me. So we do odd things in lifetimes, such odd things. I like celebrations. I like getting together with people. I remember, I was going to go to the opening ceremony of the Olympics, and we were on the bus, and somebody spilled water on my little USA sign. It's like, I was so sad and upset. It was a small thing, but I was so excited about going, and then to have my representation to hold up, I'm USA, that made me sad. And often during celebrations, I remember I was gonna go to a retirement, dinner, and I had my outfit all ready, and then the next morning, my camisole was nowhere to be found. Nowhere. And a family member could not find their belt. So we were late getting there, and then got to my sister's house, and she decided, "I'm not going." So that was not the smoothest time in my life, and I want celebrations to go smoothly. I want them to be fun. And plans got disrupted again. So I remember when I was a child, I don't know, I was dating age, so 16, 17, and a favorite guy asked me to go to the parade that we have in our town. Um, it's Saturday night parade, and my parents used to go to the parade, and they were clowns, which was also part of security. So they would go up and down the sides of the parade and make sure there's nobody doing disruptive things or throwing things at the people in the parade. Well, I got to be one of the people who was going to be a clown. So I got my little paper plate and drew the picture of what I wanted my face makeup to look like to be a clown. Well, then my dad, who was susceptible to depression, I don't know if he was bipolar or what, but anyway, he was really upset and said, "Not going to go be a clown." So I didn't get to go be a clown. So I get to the parade, and there's the guy who asked me out, and I told him I couldn't go. And here I am at the parade. It was so sad. It was something that I regretted in my life. I still now would like to have been the clown in the parade. That would have been fun. And we hold these emotions from things that don't go well, or at least I hold those emotions, and I want things to go smoothly. Even though I know spiritually we sign up for these lessons and we sign up for these experiences. And then when I get those experiences, I don't want them anymore. Make them go away. So we can pray, we can program not to have things in our lives, but sometimes it's written in stone. It's like, you will experience this. This will be an experience that you will have. And I wrote it in, but I don't remember it because we have this veil that drops. Actually, it comes up. The veil comes up, and we're hidden from our information, from our knowledge, from the ability to actually see our spirit guides, to actually hear them. Sometimes we can hear them, sometimes we can see them. It depends on the person. More often, I have a knowing. You have infusion. Your guide gives you information. So all of a sudden, you're driving down the street and you rarely ever go to Target. And then all of a sudden, it's like, I need to go to Target. I need to go to Target. So you go to Target, and there's your friend from high school that you haven't seen in ages, and you touch base with your friend. And I believe that's your spirit guide telling you, go to Target and you're going to connect with someone. So that's a nice thing that happens in your life. So that goes a little bit more smoothly, but then we get all these bumps in the road. You think you're going along just fine. You plan a trip, maybe to a exotic place, You get to the tarmac on the airfield, and you have to wait there for an hour and a half. I remember we were coming back from, I think it was Costa Rica, and we're on the plane, everybody's loaded, and all of a sudden they say, there's going to be a delay. We need to change the tire. Well, the pilot always goes around the airplane before the flight takes off and checks at the actual physical airplane. And he determined that there's something wrong with the tire. Well, actually, I was quite grateful that they took care of it while we were on the tarmac and not when we were landing and the tire fell apart or was in some way keeping us from safely landing. So luckily, we had a deck of cards in the backpack and we had some snacks. So we just played cards for the hour and a half or 2 hours, however long it took to change the tire. That was a good thing. So that way I just went with the flow and rode the wave of the disruption of the plans. Other times, I'm not so good at riding the wave and just letting things flow. I talked last week about when you have major disruptions and drama in your life. And that drama was me. I think I'm a nice person and try to do the best I can. Coming up against a person who's not so nice, who is mean spirited and lies and cheats, which did not make me feel good because this person's lying and cheating and making up stories and riling up my relative so that things don't move smoothly. And the plans to take care of my relative did not move smoothly because this mean spirited person was coming up against the situation, which was taking my sister to a more safe location, and that was being prevented. Well, yesterday I asked angels, because I work with an angel channel, Ann Tucker, and I asked the angels, why? Why did this not go smoothly? What's going on? And they informed me that century after century, lifetime after lifetime, because I believe in past lives, I would have these same kind of scenarios where there would be a person who's very mean spirited, you would consider dark, and I would come up against them. And so it's light versus dark. I would be trying to find the moral path, and they're being immoral. And this has happened in this lifetime more than once. And this has happened in other lifetimes more than once. I told you about a past life where I was a guard at a prisoner of war camp. And I could see the powers that be would be torturing people. And I didn't like it, but I knew that if I intervened, I would probably be killed or taken away. And then what would happen to my family? So I was a sole breadwinner. They had power over me and over what would happen to my family. So I was between a rock and a hard place. And I was in a situation where I could help, was the word surreptitiously. I could help in little ways to help the prisoners, but I couldn't continuously help them. And I couldn't really speak my mind and say, this is totally unfair. Don't do this. This is not appropriate. Don't hurt people. That was not a possibility. So I had to write it out and do the best I could. And that happens over and over and over again in my lifetime. Lifetime. And it's for me to learn that I can't always control the situation. I can't always fix things. I can do the best I can and try to protect the people involved that I'm trying to protect, but I can't always fix it immediately. or sometimes ever. So, what could I do? I asked specifically, what can I do? And I asked more or less for a miracle. I asked that this be stopped, that this kind of experience be withdrawn from my life chart. So, my higher self, I have a hair that keeps getting in my eye. My higher self came down and helped me to let go of the experience. But it's not immediate. It isn't like, oh, these people who tell you, um, you can just ask for something and it will immediately be there. Well, law of attraction doesn't always apply to individual experiences. My experience is just a web of experience. So I can ask for help and have a small part of that experience removed or go smoothly, but the whole experience of me interacting with um, the mean spirited people and not being able to put my sister in a safer place right now because all the safer spaces have wait lists, and the mean spirited person is wanted by my sister right now as a caretaker. And so I just have to deal with it right now until I can use my power of attorney and move her. But the angel said the experience has to be unwound. So if you think of a web of all the experiences of a scenario like that, it has to be unwound. So the first thing I have to do is let go of wanting to not be in this experience anymore, wanting the freedom of being beyond it. Let go of that. Number two, the want for this to be over. So I sort of have to just thank God, thank the universe, thank the other mean spirited entity for providing me with this experience and this juxtaposition of light versus dark. So I have this opportunity now to, we have an alarm going off in my house right now. So hopefully somebody's taking care of it. This experience of light versus dark. So I can thank the mean spirited person for playing that role and being thankful that I am able to get through it and can stop crying and can stop not being able to think, which was what happened last week, crying, not being able to think, not being able to channel, not being able to meditate, which is uncomfortable for me and not fun. I want to have fun. I want to be happy. I want to be joyous. And that was not happening. So I took a breath and decided, okay, I am a spiritual person and I'm coming from a source of thinking of positivity and goodness and light. So I'm going to put that out there and allow the universe and God to move me through this experience and let go of the want and let go of the need and just get on with my life and know that eventually all the threads and all of the web will be unwound and I'll be able to move my sister to a safer place. Meanwhile, she's surrounded by angels, which I ask for every day, surrounded by angels to protect her and keep her from harm, even though she's not in the best situation at this point in time. So, know that Prince Charming is not likely to come into your life and save the day. That happens in cartoons. And then, they live happily ever after. But in our life, even if the prince comes into our life, we have to continue life. And other stuff happens, not always fun. So even if bad things happen, so I think I've told this story before too. I'm teaching fourth grade. I had the choice because I had more seniority than somebody else when they reconfigured classes to take a combination class or take a straight class. And I chose to take the straight fourth grade instead of the 4 or 5 combination. Well, that was a mistake. The fourth grade had gang kids in there. And this one horrible little girl who was so mean to everybody, she would threaten people, go up to people and say, if you don't do my homework, then I'm going to beat up your best friend. Well, one little girl stood up to her, and the mother came, and the principal was a namby-pamby person. And instead of her dealing with it, she sent the mom to my classroom and sent the vice principal to take over my classroom so I could talk to the mom. Now, she was a classic stereotypic motorcycle chick with chains. It was about 6'1" and tried threatening me. So I'm outside and she's trying to threaten me. And it didn't work very well because I have big people in my family, like 6'2", 6'3", like sumo wrestler, big people. So I wasn't afraid of her. She kept like, coming into my space and backing, trying to threaten me. Anyway, it ended up that she said she was going to call the district attorney. Well, by that time, I'd gone back up the ramp, opened the door to my classroom because it's like, that's enough of this. And she's again yelling, I'm going to call the district attorney. You're going to get arrested, blah, blah, blah. Well, my kids, my children, students, stood up and they're going, you can't call the district attorney. You're lying. She didn't do anything to her, et cetera, et cetera. Yay, my children. Anyway, those students were wonderful, except for the gang kids. Anyway, I just rode through that, and that was okay. I mean, I was disappointed the principal couldn't stand up to anybody, but I rode through that. It was like, okay, fine. I'm not going to back down and let this little girl threaten people. And I will continue to suspend her when she does threaten people and does harm people. So that was just like a decision. I made that. That's okay. And then on to the next thing. So when you deal with people who are illogical, liars, cheats, and they're not going to make any sense, you have to decide, okay, what do you need to protect yourself, your family, your friends? Are you in a situation to do that? Is that your responsibility? Or can you just walk away from that person? So in my case, I need to let go of fixing things right now and give it to the universe and let them fix it. And I need to emotionally just let that go. Let that go. And trust in the universe that they will take care of it because I have decided that I want the end to this. So they need to unravel all the connections and unravel all the situations in order for that to happen. So know that sometimes law of attraction and praying are just going to help a little tiny bit of the situation. So you need to go pull yourself back and get out of the picture. I have a friend who's dealing with a evil mom, mean mom, who is not about to help her child who's in need, is not about to help with her physical disability and her needs. It's just like she negates that person is even there. The mom just like doesn't pay attention and blames her for things. So you have to take away that idea that things need to be logical because they're not always going to be logical. Sometimes you need to walk away from a parent. Sometimes you need to divorce yourself from your best friend, your ex-husband, whoever it is, because they're not helping your life. They're hurting your life. even though logically they should be helping you, they should be working with you, they should be cooperating. That's not always going to happen. And sometimes you just need to let go of them. Know that, to me, we have a mother and a father God, and they are our true parents. And when we come into life, we have different parents every time, a different mom, a different dad, and we don't owe anything to them if they are being mean spirited and hurting us and not supporting us. Then find someone else in your life that can be part of your support system. Find a grandmother figure, find a friend that will support you. Don't stay around the ones who won't support you. And stop playing that loop. We play this loop of this person should be acting in a sensible, moral way. They should be telling the truth. They should be admitting they're not telling the truth. That's not going to happen for a lot of mean-spirited people. They're not going to change. And you thinking logically that they should change is not going to happen. So extricate yourself from them if possible. If not, then tell the universe what you want. And then let go and let the universe take care of it. Now, it may be like my scenario where it's going to take a while to unravel all the connections. And if you need a miracle, ask for it, but then allow that miracle to happen. If you keep holding on to it, if you keep holding on to the situation, then you're not going to allow the universe to take care of it. You have to say what you want. You can write a universe letter. You can pray to God. You can talk to the angels. You can program. But you need to be very specific about what you want. You need to give angels permission to help you and be very specific. And you also need to allow the universe, the angels, God, spiritual, holy people that can help you, allow them to help you and stop holding on to the want and the need. It's like you write a letter of what you want, what you need, and you never mail it because you're always holding on to it. You always hold on to, I need this, I need this, I need this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And you can't let go of it and give it to the universe. If you don't let go of it and give it to the universe, they can't take care of it. You're holding on to it. You don't want to let it go. So take a breath and think about, what do you want in this life? What do you need to change? What do you need to have happen? If you need a miracle, ask for it. If for some reason that can't take place, then ask for it to be modified. Ask for some lateral movement, change. If you've written in something yucky in your life and you wrote it in stone, I do not want this change, and then you get here, of course you want it changed, then ask it to be modified. Ask for it to be lessened. Ask for you to feel joy and get beyond the situation. Even if you're in pain, you can get beyond the pain. Think of being yourself in your spiritual body, beyond your physical. And let yourself have an easier life by letting go of some of the stuff you're holding on to. Remember, not everyone's going to be logical like you. Not everyone is going to be of a high moral caliber, what you are. Some people are never going to let go of cheating and lying. That serves them. Well, then let it serve them and stop getting upset about the way they are, because you're not changing them. Instead, extricate yourself. Instead, find a way to disconnect from them if at all possible. If not, then modify the situation. God listens. Angels listen. But think of the emotion of what you need to let go of, and then let go of it. Let the universe take care of it. Mail that letter. Mail that letter. of your wants and your needs. And then take a breath and let the universe take over as much as possible. Okay, take a breath today. Hug yourself today. Allow yourself to find some joy today. And if you need to extricate yourself from someone, then think about what can change. What can you change about the situation? What can you change about the life experience you're having? And then send that out to the universe and ask for help. The stuff you cannot change, well, then you cannot change it. And stop beating yourself up because you can't change it. Ask for miracles if at all possible and expect them. All right. Thank you very much for joining me. And I'll talk to you next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Bye. Thanks for joining me.